guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be my tips and tricks for going on a road trip with kids, specifically keeping those kids happy during a road trip, because happy kids equals happy parents. So this summer, obviously, due to that little situation, we can't go very far. So we are traveling down to Margaret River, which is a few hours south of us here in Perth. I think the car ride is going to be about 3.5 hours long. So these are my tips and what I'm going to be bringing to keep my kids happy and safe and clean throughout the entire trip. The first thing is the kids are going to need some kind of surface to lean on. There are quite a few different options. The one I'm bringing for this trip is this plastic lap tray, which I got this one from Red Dot. Basically, it sits over the child's lap. It has some cubbies on either side, and then obviously a tray for leaning on. This one is wide enough to hold coloring books, iPads, all that kind of thing. There is a round compartment here, which Taylor wanted to use as a cup holder, but her drink bottle is not going to fit in that. It's really quite narrow, and it narrows as it gets deeper as well. And then this one as well, which is great for pens and pencils. The only thing that I think is going to be a problem with this one is the fact that when they're not using it, it's going to be quite hard to store because it doesn't fold or anything. So there is that. But that is one option that you have. You could go super simple and just do a clipboard. Probably this will be okay for some older kids. Younger ones might find it a little bit challenging to manage holding a clipboard and then whatever pen, pencils they're using. But it is an option if you're really limited on space. I had 2 of these for years and they've finally given out. These are like sort of a canvas material, and they are again a lap tray. They're not rigid at all. This one has cracked down the middle, but really it's just a piece of cardboard or something that's in the center of these things. They do have a like a border around the outside that stands up, which will stop any pens and pencils from rolling off, which is really good. And then it does have side compartments as well. We had these for years before they fell apart. It's only just been the last 6 months that it started to do this. So I do recommend these. They do come with a strap as well, which I ended up cutting off, but you can strap them to the kids' car seats if that's going to make them a little bit more convenient for your kids. Something else I've done in the past, if your kids are still quite young, I use an old Huggies nappy box, cut out some holes to sort of make it into the shape of these trays, covered it in wrapping paper, put some clear contact on top and put some stickers on it, and Taylor was able to use that as a lap tray on the way down to a wedding we went to, actually, also down south. So really good option. I do have a photo. I can pop that in here somewhere so you can see what I'm talking about, but it cost me next to nothing and it survived the trip. So it wasn't something that I was going to be able to use over and over, but it got there and it got back and then it was destroyed after that. So realistically, iPads or some kind of a device, tablet kind of thing are going to be something that your children are going to want on a trip. It really is the easiest thing because they are going to be very invested in that for a longer period of time. But you do want to make sure that they are charged up, and you do not want to forget your headphones because you do not want to be listening to Tag with Ryan the whole way down. So I bought this Energizer Ultimate car charger recently, and what I liked about this is that it has 2 USB ports, so you can charge 2 devices at once, and there's not going to have to be, any sharing of the charger or anything, which can lead to disaster. If your port is in the front seat of your car but your kids are in the back seat of the car, you're going to want to make sure you have long enough charging cable so that it can reach the kids while they're in the back seat. So the kids got these for Christmas. I believe they were from Big W. They're the Belkin brand. They reach all the way from the front seat to the back seat without anyone having to stretch or give up their iPad for any length of time. Really convenient. Another thing you take is portable chargers. I have a couple here. Just don't forget to take the cables with you. Make sure it's all together. And it's just another option for charging devices if you need it. So you're going to want your kids to be comfortable no matter what the length of your journey. So you want to keep things like their sunglasses handy. Obviously it can get quite glary on the road. I'm going to be having the kids' hats in the car with me as well as sunscreen. So when we do stop for lunch, they're going to be able to play freely and still be sun safe. The kids are both going to have their pillows in the car. I'll have them in the seat in between the 2. So it gives a bit of separation, but it's also comfortable for them. They can lean on them if they need to. And my son will have his comfort blankie that he uses to go to sleep with every night in the car as well. We will have the aircon blaring because it's summer and it's hot, but you will find that not everyone is comfortable at the same temperature. So I myself am going to have a jumper with me because I get quite cold with the aircon on, but then you still want to have the car cool for the rest of the people in your family. I think road tripping 101 is don't let anyone go hungry, because as soon as you get hungry, the whining starts, the hangriness starts, and that's not what you want. So I'm going to have up front with me a cooler bag with some snack. We're going to take things like pretzels and crackers. We'll cut up some fruit before we go as well, so it's all very easy. If you are going on a longer journey, I would definitely recommend taking some sandwiches as well. We'll be stopping for lunch, so we can do that, and our journey, we're within civilization the entire time. So if you are going somewhere more remote, definitely take enough, probably more than you need, just in case anything was to happen. The kids will also obviously have their water bottles, as well as we'll have our own water bottles. I do recommend checking the car cup holders before you commit to the water bottle that you're taking on the journey, because I find in my car in particular, the cup holders are quite small. You don't want to have like a giant drink bottle if it's not going to be able to fit into a cup holder. And then you do want to have some kind of receptacle to use as a bin for any rubbish that you do accumulate throughout the trip. You don't want to be having like smelly banana peels or like chip packets just littering the floor. I recommend getting either a giant Ziploc bag, even though it's not going to be the prettiest. At least you can seal it and seal in the scents along with it, and then you can just dump it when you get to wherever you're going. I've seen people use cereal boxes with lids as a bin, or you can just use a plastic bag, whatever you've got handy. You also want to make sure that you're keeping everything accessible for your kids. Whoever's in the passenger seat, it's going to be me on this trip, is going to be on call for all the family's needs throughout the entire trip. So make it as easy on yourself as possible. Keep everything accessible for them. Make use of, like I say, your cup holders, pouches that you have on the backs of the seats. Make sure as much as possible is within reach of the kids. And keep that in mind when you're choosing the bag that they're going to be traveling with in the car. So this type style of backpack is quite good because it unzips all the way down the front and you can access it like this. So it's quite a large opening. You can actually hang this on the back of the front seat as well. So if your kid is using a tray like this where they can't bend over and pick things up off the floor, you can hang this up so they can just easily reach in front of them and grab whatever they need out of the bag. Depending on your style of car, some cars have a hook that folds down, which is really, really convenient. You could use a luggage strap to attach it to the headrest of the front seat, or if you're able to prepare before you leave, you could always take the headrest off the front seat, put the bag on and then hook it back in. If you've still got a pram hook, you could use that to attach the bag to the front seat. So many options. Anything the kids are using for their activities as well, you want to keep them handy as well as contained to their area. You don't want things falling off onto the floor because that's just very annoying. So Owen's got this style of pencil case, which I quite like because it is narrow and small. He doesn't need too many things on this trip. He just needs some colored pens and pencils, obviously. It will sit nicely on his tray and it opens up nicely as well. You can see what's in there without having to dig too much, as opposed to a pencil case that lays flat like this, and then things could roll out very easily. I don't like to rely solely on iPads for these kinds of trips. Even though kids love to watch iPads, they do still need a break from them every now and again. And they'll probably admit that themselves on this kind of journey. I like to bring all range of activities. We have things like books. My youngest is 5, so he doesn't read yet. So just picture books are really good for the younger kids. A lot of people will say to bring one that they're not familiar with, but then it's hard. If they can't read, it's hard for you to read from the front seat and them to look at the pictures. So if you bring one that they sort of know the general story, they can kind of read it to themselves. I think that's actually a better option than brand new everything. The kids that can read and don't suffer from motion sickness, obviously you want to bring them a couple of options, at least 2 books, and then they can read them on the trip as well. My daughter's really into the graphic novels at the moment, and then she's also got a traditional novel as well. Coloring books are obviously great. Ones that comes with stickers are even greater. I like to have a pad of blank drawing paper. My kids are really into drawing, my youngest in particular, and this is a nice small size for them that they can manage easily. They also got a really inexpensive 3-pack of writing notebooks from Kmart, so the kids will get one each, and then I use one on my desk as well. Again, depending on the age of your kid, things like maze books and puzzle books are really, really good. Smiggle has some great options as well for activity books. This one I love. It's one of these, they're called scratch pads, where you get an activity sheet or a coloring sheet and you can scratch off this black surface and it reveals color underneath, which is really cute and a bit of fun, a bit of a novelty for the kids. These can be quite expensive at Smiggle, but if you shop during the sales and then just sort of save them. And then travel board games are always good. This is like an off-brand one again from Red Dot. It was $6 and it's a Guess Who kind of alternative. I thought this would be really good for the car because if the kids don't want to play with each other but one of them wants to play, I could always have a board in front of me and then I'd be able to play without having to be sitting together. So these little craft activity packs are really good for this kind of thing, depending on your child's child's age and skill level, obviously. But things that don't have, you know, glues and glitters and that kind of thing are really good. So this is just a Popstick Puppets set. It comes with these foam pieces and the kids just have to stick them together to make the characters. So really simple, also quite fun for the kids. And again, this is $3, so really affordable as well. Also bring little mini tubs of Play-Doh. I don't recommend bringing like a full set, but these little mini tubs where you can just make, you know, sort of a character or something are really good, particularly if you're bringing a play with a plastic surface. These are really good for that. And on the same lines, little mini Lego sets are really good to bring along. If you have like a little Lego board, pop that in the bag as well, so they've got something for this to stick to, so it's not just sort of rolling around everywhere. We've already spoken about keeping some kind of bin in the car so that you can gather any rubbish all together, but you're also going to want to have some wet wipes in the car with you. Hopefully you don't need to use them, but so handy to have if you do. You're going to want to have some tissues with you, even if you don't have, you know, snotty noses or allergies or anything at the time of your trip. It's always the worst thing if you need one and you can't find a tissue. I'll also have a bottle of hand sanitizer in the car with me. I've also got a little spray pack that goes in my wallet, so that can leave the car with us when we go out. If you live in an area where masks are required, make sure that you have enough for everyone in the family, as well as a heap of extras as well, because you don't want to be stuck without. So those are my tips and tricks for road tripping with young kids in the car. If you have any hacks or tips or tricks, I'd love to hear them down in the comments below. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you're new. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great start to 2021 and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.